Okay then, so now let's talk about coproducts. So suppose we have subobjects I1 and I2 of C, and let's suppose these conditions hold. So chi I1 of W or chi I2 of W is true, but it's not true that chi I1 W and chi IW hold. In that case, we have this setup with these subobjects I1 and I2. We have then that the domains of these monics I1 and I2 form the coproduct of A and B, with these I1 and I2 as the injections. So firstly, let's interpret this second condition here because it has an interesting sort of interpretation. So what's it mean? Well, to say this is to say that its interpretation is true, which means that not chi I1 of W and chi I2 W is true. That's if and only if not of chi I1 intersection I2 is true, and that happens if chi I1 intersection I2 is in false, okay? Because when not W is true, W is in false. When not W is true, W is in false. Now, how are we to interpret this? Well, I claim that what it means basically is that I1 intersection I2 is the empty subobject of C. So we could call it Z of C. This is my notation for the empty subobject of C. But how are we going to see this? Well, it's actually there's a more general result, which is, in general, I believe, if F is in false, then say we have an arrow W from A to omega. Well, that'll be the classifying arrow of some subobject, okay? But anyway, that's going to be in false, like so. I believe if and only if it is the classifying arrow, W is the classifying arrow of ZA, where ZA denotes this arrow from zero to A. So how do we see this? Well, W is in false is equivalent to saying that W equals false after exclamation mark A. And so the subobject classified by W will be the pullback of true along FA after exclamation mark A. Now, by the pullback lemma, that's just the pullback of true along FA, which gives exclamation mark 0, and then the pullback of exclamation mark 0 along exclamation mark A. Now, I've already shown here that the pullback of exclamation mark 0 along exclamation mark A is this arrow ZA. So by the pullback lemma, that does it, right? Because we know that this right square is a pullback by the definition of false, and I already argued that this left square is a pullback. So we know that the whole square is a pullback, and so by the property of the subobject classifier, we know that since the pullback of true along this purple arrow gives ZA, we know that, well, that's what we're claiming. On the other hand, W's the only arrow, the pullback of true along which gives ZA. So there we are. So that means essentially this statement is basically saying that these monics I1 and I2 have an empty intersection. In other words, they're disjoints. And actually, what this statement is saying is that the union of I1 and I2 is C, okay? So the intersection is empty and the union is all of C, which fits our intuition of what coproducts are.